Do a little Q&A for the Gladiator Strong program. Took a little photo of some of the underground strength gym hats, and of course, always on the desk, got the Captains of Crush. You got to always work your grip. Somebody told me they were listening to Strong Life podcast recent. They said they heard me crushing the gripper. So this question comes in from Joe. He says, "Hey man, I started your Gladiator Strong program through Train Heroic. I know that you had notes regarding each workout, but I had a few general questions. Are the sets listed working sets only, not including warm-up?" So number one, let's say we're looking at a clean and press, and let's just say it says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what I found is that for a beginner or intermediate, and this program could be anywhere for beginner to advanced. The advanced is going to get some tweaks, but more of an intermediate program. So for me, 5 and 4 are my warm-up sets. 3, 2, and 1 are my working sets. Now, for an intermediate lifter, your weight on reps 3, 2, and 1 might be the same if I'm slightly questioning your technique. If you're advanced, you're going to be able to hit a pretty heavy single at the end. And then you might say to yourself, you know what? I got a little more in the tank. Let me hit another heavy single with the same weight or a little bit heavier. So when we hit a 1 rep, it could be 90% to a full out max. Don't be afraid to max out. Now, if you are advanced, you're going to probably need more than a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You might have to do a 5 and not count it. Your 5 and 4 might be kind of around that 50, 60, 70% mark. And then your 3, 2, and 1 are in your 80, 90+% area. So you got to have a little, give and take on, and Dylan, yeah, hang on one second on that question, buddy. Got to have a little give and take and flexibility. That's what this Gladiator Strong program is about. If I'm going to individualize a program, honestly, I got to work with you pretty closely. I've got to do some FaceTime videos with you to see what your technique looks like. I want to see you squatting, power cleaning. I want to see what your physique looks like. I want to see what your back looks like under a heavy deadlift. I want to see what your knees look like when you're squatting and lunging. So that's going to give me an idea of how many sets, what kind of intensity we're doing, and so forth. Next question. Is there a preferred rest period for the sets and the supersets? And my man John Welburn just spoke about this today. Like, some people are like, no, resting is for the weak. Here's what I say. I look at who's inside of our group. If we tend to have post-collegiate athletes and adults in this group, and then we've also got some collegiate athletes and coaches who are training high school and college athletes. So if this is, somebody like myself who's a little bit pressed for time, I'm the kind of guy that's going to change the weight and pretty much get going right away. For the most part, we don't want to wait till we're fully recuperated unless we're really hitting some heavy maxes, which I don't really do too often. So I like to give it about a 60 or 90 second rest. 2 exercises back to back, 90-second rest period. Feeling real good, want to push the envelope, you get it to 60 seconds. If I'm training the college athletes, for example, let's say, I don't want to go by today because today was a speed workout, but on Tuesday, the guys did benching and, I'm forgetting what they hit with this. But let's say you're going 5x5 bench and 1-arm row. They're going to bench and they're going to row, and I'm going to tell them to get 2 to 3 sets in a row, grab a drink, bang out a set of pull-aparts and side planks, and then hit the next 2 sets in a row. Bench press row, get right back to that rotation because I'm training wrestlers. So we're working on incomplete recoveries. If you're a busy person, you also have to push the pace a little bit more, and you're probably a little bit less worried about trying to destroy the weights and hit max weights. So you've got to go by what your goals are. And that's the kind of coach I am. I'm not the kind of coach that enforces and says, you must rest this long, you can't rest that long. Because the reason why I say that is, here in my library, I remember in my earlier years of coming across a lot of the Russian texts and the manuals, they were talking about resting 7 to 9 minutes between sets. This was before there were apps on a phone. I'm talking, flip phone days. And I was like, there's no way I could let this kid rest 7 minutes. He'll lose his concentration. And I found that people who are in shape, and Louis Simmons says this often, very often, he says when you're in shape, you don't need to rest a lot. You're spotting, you're changing weights, and you're going again. And that helps attack new muscle fibers, and it pushes your body, and it pushes your mind. And I think we could all use a little bit of both, or a lot of both. Next question. If no percent of the 1 rep max is listed, is there a preferred percent of the 1RM for sets and or supersets? So when you're going for a single, like I said earlier, you're around that 90% or more. How do you know if you should go more? Tuesday, we were squatting at my gym, and I said to the kid, how are you feeling today? We're squatting. Do you want to break a record? He goes, we're always trained to break records. And I love this kid. So I said, hells yeah, go over to the board and check what your numbers were. So we use Wodify for the gym, and with us on Train Heroic, you could backtrack and see your numbers. So if you're saying, dude, I want to break a record, I want you to find what your record is and do it. If you're feeling a little bit beat up and run down, then guess what? That's probably not the day to break a record. Now, for athletes, I might coach you and say, listen, we're going to warm up a little longer, and we're going to do what's called overreaching. I don't explain it like that, but when I see their run down, I warm them up. I get them hyped up. Might add some extra jumping, some extra med ball throwing, some short sprints to get them excited and fired up. That warm-up removes the cobwebs. And then I could decide, are we hitting a true 1 rep max? Or are we going to hit, a 1 rep max? Or are we going to hit a single, and I probably could have done a double? So that is the art of coaching, whether you're coaching others or coaching yourself. So that's it, Joe. Hope that helps you out. And I know we had a question here, so drop your question one more time, and I'm gonna answer it. What do we got? Type it up. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I'm kind of new to this. Show the live chat messages. All right, I'm on a wrestling team. We've been out all Christmas break. Told me we have a state match tomorrow. Would better go and lose for practice or not to waste time. So I'm not sure what that question is. Say that again. You want to lose? I wish I could see you guys face to face during these live Q&A. So I'm not sure what state you're in, but it sounds like you guys won a match and you were put into the sectionals, which puts you in like a group state championship, almost like a playoff game for football. So I wasn't sure what your question is. Are you trying to lose weight, or are you trying to do something else? Ask that, maybe make that a little more clear. Because my thing is, when you go into wrestling practice, you're going to practice to get better. You're not going to practice to lose weight. If you need to lose weight, you got to manage your weight better. And then after practice is when you put on your sweatpants and you go out and take a run, or you get on the bike and you jump rope, or you do some more drilling. You get better at your skill, at your sport, and you lose a little more weight. The other thing I'd like to say is, at the high school level and below, my preference is for you guys to never have to cut weight. So if you have to skip breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you didn't do your job in the off season of wrestling skills. You didn't do your job in the off season of getting strong enough. Because when I find people cutting weights because somebody's better than them, and now they're kind of ducking that person. They're like, well, if I just get skinnier and go down a weight class, I'll be better. And my preference is really, I don't like to work with those athletes at my gym, because they train. When the season starts, they stop training. They get weaker. They cut weight and get even weaker. And I was listening to a podcast today with Louis Simmons. He goes, after 2 weeks, you start losing strength. Wrestling season is 12 weeks. So imagine how much weaker a kid is after 8 weeks of lifting incorrectly or not lifting and cutting weight. They're much weaker. So the goal is wrestle and get better at wrestling. Strength work in season, workoutsthatwin.com. That's our program, which is also inside of undergroundstrengthcoach.com. Got to have 3 meals a day. We're probably going to lose the match tomorrow. It's a state competition. Should I go, even if it's just for practice? Brother, nothing is just for practice. Nothing is ever just for practice. Everything is about the preparation, and the preparation makes you better. A champion will show up to find a way to get better, to find a way to be a competitor. And that's what I think a lot of kids are missing. I was missing it myself. I didn't develop that competitive attitude till I got older because I didn't compete enough and I didn't know how to mentally prepare in my younger years. That's it, guys. Make it happen. UndergroundStrengthCoach.com. Peace out and thank you.